rise again to glory then, soar into the sky. If you stop and see, then you just might believe. We're unstoppable, powerful, enough to beat the odds. If you love me, you will see the flames inside of me.
Welcome back to Seduce Me, the Demon Whore. Let's continue from where we left off. We are gonna have a nice talk with the Incubi brothers, so let's do this. I need to know more about what's going on. Why was Sam so keen on doing whatever he had planned? I heard what you were all talking about, but I don't understand. A demon marriage? James, what did I say, Sam? James let out a sigh before rubbing his temple with one hand, crossing his other arm over his chest. Matthew stepped forward, becoming the teacher of the moment. Oh, good, great.
Well, you see, humans plan weddings and have licenses and stuff, and bam, you're married. Demons, however, are a little more intimate.
Of course they are. Of course they are. You're a sex demon. Intimate?
Well, basically, when demons want to be together forever, they don't put rings on each other or anything like that. They bind each other's souls.
That sounds a bit dangerous. What? This was making no sense, but then again, it was demon magic they were talking about, so it wasn't familiar to me at all. Eric stepped forward and continued.
When two demons want to join together and build their legacy and family, they go through a ritual that binds their souls together for all of eternity. No matter where they are, they will forever sense each other's presence and be able to feel them in their hearts.
So if he's cheating, I can feel it?
Pretty much. It's kind of romantic. It's also pretty complicated.
Pretty complicated?
Well, when a demon binds their soul to another demon, they also swear to give their energy to their partner without question. Normally, willpower can be used to fight back when someone takes our energy, but the binding spell will overrule your will.
Jeez, what if I end up hating Sam and be like,
Basically, it's constant consent, even if you fight back. Demons have accepted this way of life, but from what we've seen of the human world, humans wouldn't be so keen on this idea.
I suddenly felt a little scared. Yeah, I do. I do too, dude. If I bound my soul to Sam, he'd be able to take my energy whenever he wanted. I knew he wouldn't abuse that. I'm sorry, that just worries me. But it was still scary, no longer having a say in whether I wanted to or not. But did I want to bind my soul with him? I shook my head, putting the information in a mental folder before asking another question. It was not something I had to go through right now. I'd be able to think it over later. What's involved with this spell?
Well, it requires a lot of power and a bunch of things to perform the ritual correctly. Our moms, well, except for Damien's, all had to gather everything and perform it with their own energy because there was no one to cast the spell.
Seriously though, poor Damien's like, well, except for Damien's. Damien's like, oh man.
That's because our father was a misogynistic tyrant who demanded more than one partner.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Anyway, you need to have someone to cast the spell. Then you'd need to properly set the magic circle and temper the space. There's a lot you'd have to do.
Can we just slap a ring on our finger and say whoop-de-frickin-do, we're married? A demon ritual to bind souls. All of it was intriguing to me, yet at the same time I was concerned over the implied difficulty. Was something like that truly complicated? To bind two souls together, it was romantic in thought, but I guess difficult in process and execution. Sam really seemed passionate about the idea, just from how frustrated he was in disagreeing with his brothers. I felt both flattered and worried. Damien walked over to me, obviously hearing my thoughts on the situation, and placed his hand on my shoulder. I like you better when you're a human.
Don't let this worry you. He'll talk to you about it when he's ready. I don't believe he fully knows what to do yet.
Don't touch me. I nodded and closed my eyes. Now that I understood a bit more about the situation, talking to Sam would be easier. I sighed and looked at the boys, seeing them starting to clean the table and clear the papers off. I had to assume that the planning was done for the night. Sorry. Well, I guess we'll discuss more another time.
It'll have to wait until the weekend. Much is happening this week, so I won't be available.
Is there a fucking demon behind me? Did you hear that? I'm scared. There's a demon behind me or some shit. What the fuck? Oh, it's my dog. She's sleeping. She's laughing in her sleep. Guys, she's a demon. That's terrifying. Yeah, okay, no sex.
Same
Steven.
here. I have to train a couple of interns so they know how to properly fit customers with a suit.
You're a tailor. Oh, for the love of God.
This weekend is perfectly fine, right?
What do you do, Matthew? Yeah, that sounds good. I helped pile the papers in proper stack on the table, making them ready for the next time they were to be viewed. Before I escorted the boys out, Sam remained wherever he was and didn't see his brothers off. After I closed the door, however, Sam appeared at the balcony above the lobby and began to descend the staircase.
Are they gone?
Yes, Brett, they are gone. Yeah, they'll be back this weekend. Sam sighed and ran his hand through his hair, letting his shoulders slouch forward.
This is ridiculous. Is wedding prep really this complicated?
That's not what you're mad about, honey. That's not what you're mad about. I could only nod before walking over and meeting him as he reached at the bottom steps. As he stepped off it, I wrapped my arms around him and nuzzled his forehead, making him look into my eyes. It'll be worth it in the end when we're married. Sam smiled and wrapped his arm around my waist, nuzzling my forehead. I felt the deep love in his embrace, wanting to protect me from the world and all dangers within it. He had protected me so many times with those arms that were wrapped around me.
If I get to be with you forever, then I guess it's worth the work. You doofus.
I'm a doofus.
As long as you have me, I'll be with you forever. There we go. With a loving gaze, Sam lifted a hand from my waist and cupped my cheek, and I nuzzled into the warmth of his palm and let out a loving sigh.
Hey, can we go somewhere tomorrow?
Where? Sure, I guess. Where do you want to go? Thoughts of him going to the black market crossed my mind, making me slightly worried as to where he wanted to go. Sam, however, looked at his feet.
Well, we already asked your folks and stuff about me marrying you. But there's one person I have to ask permission from.
We are not going to the graveyard. We are not going to the graveyard. We are not going to the graveyard. Who?
Your grandfather.
Fucking knew it. I don't want to.
It's too sad.
I was shocked. He wanted to go to my grandfather's grave. Damien had explained that he had been to my grandfather's grave. It had been my grandfather who had brought them over from the demon world, but I still was getting used to the idea. Sam continued to explain as I wrapped my head around the question.
I know I sound a little dumb, but he was kind of important to me and my brothers. He's the one who brought us here after all. It's only respectful if, I guess, I kind of ask for his blessing. I mean, it's dumb and we don't have to, but...
No, we can, definitely. Tomorrow around noon, then? Sam stared in shock before he nodded with a smile.
All right.
The thought of us going to visit grandfather's grave somehow made me feel happy instead of sad. We had both visited him before, but weren't engaged then, and something felt special about the visit. Maybe it was because Sam was doing things right before marrying me. Who knew? We went to bed that night, settled in our plans for the following day. As morning arrived, we got dressed and were out of the house by the time the clock struck noon. It was a bright day and no one else was visiting, so Sam and I were alone in the cemetery.
Hi, Grandpa.
It was a little unnerving, but at the same time, it was nice to be able to spend time with grandfather's grave alone with Sam. I'd visit alone eventually. But for now, Sam took control of our visit. Sam sat down in front of the grave, crossing his legs, and stared at the stone slab. That was my grandfather's gravestone. I followed suit, sitting beside him, and placed a bouquet of flowers beside the grave.
No matter how many times we come here, it's still so odd. I remember when we met almost like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it's so strange. We both sat in a comfortable silence, looking at the grave. It was strange remembering the 2 years ago I had met Sam and his brothers literally the day after my grandfather had died. Now I was getting married to Sam. It was surreal, to say the very least. Sam straightened his back and cleared his throat, causing me to look at him in confusion.
So, Mr. Anderson, I hope that you're around to hear us and stuff. Your spirit, I mean. I'm fucking this up already.
Yeah, you're doing great. You're doing great. Just keep going. What? I was confused. Why was he asking my grandfather was there? He was buried under the earth and his spirit was probably in the afterlife. Sam took another breath.
You must sound like a complete jackass. You've given my brothers a chance to start new lives, and I can't ever thank you enough. Now, I'm asking for your granddaughter's hand. I must seem like a brat, huh?
I could only watch as Sam ran his hand through his messy hair, obviously deep in thought and formulating the words carefully before speaking. He didn't want to mess up. I could tell by the look on his face.
You've given us so much already. I want to be able to not only pay you back for giving my brothers better lives, but I want to be with your granddaughter for the rest of my life. As a demon, and as her husband.
Oh, he's so sweet.
I promise to take care of her and love her for the rest of my life. I want to be with her and provide her with the life she deserves. I may be a demon, but I love her, and will do anything to protect her and keep her happy.
You sweet little marshmallow.
Please, if you're here, I humbly ask for your blessing to marry your granddaughter.
My heart was overwhelmed by the emotional speech Sam made. Tears were forming in my eyes from the love he was expressing for me. I held my hands over my chest, unable to stop the pounding of my heart. Sam truly loved me. As I stared at Sam, a gentle wind passed through the air and brushed over Sam's and my skin. Well, it was at a place. The sun was out, and I hadn't felt any breeze at all until just then. Grandfather? Another small breeze brushed over us, making me and Sam smile at the sensation. The wind was my grandfather's answer, and it was gentle enough to let us know that he was happy to see where we were, and what we were planning to do. Sam let out a breath and that he was holding in, now that he knew that my grandfather approved.
I won't let you down.
Oh, you sweetie. I couldn't help a wide smile growing on my face. I was beyond overjoyed at the situation. If my grandfather really was there, I was happy to know that he approved of us. We went home that day feeling confident and ready for whatever the future held for us. Okay, I hate when I hear noises outside my door. I hate it. We went home that day feeling confident and ready for whatever the future held for us. We had gained the blessing of my grandfather, and I was certain that however we went about this marriage, we were going to care and love each other for the rest of our lives. Just thinking about Sam being with me forever made my heart jump in joy. Was I really that excited to be married to him? My heart thought so, despite him being a demon. Still, the demon ritual remained in the back of my mind, softly prodding at my thoughts as we returned home and worked on more wedding arrangements. I looked at Sam, there we go, now curious enough to bring up. The question was, would I? Yes? It was bothering me. I wanted to know what was on Sam's mind, and I needed to hear his thoughts about it. I looked at Sam as he pored over a guest list. He was proficient with reading now, constantly learning in the past 2 years we had been together, so he was flying through this work with ease. Still, I needed to break the silence. Sam, can I ask you something? Sam looked up from his work and sat up straight, rolling his shoulders.
Yeah, sure, what's up?
Promise you won't be mad? Sam furrowed his eyebrows, now concerned with what I wanted to ask him. I bit my lower lip, but he nodded, crossing his arms and leaning back against the chair.
Go ahead.
If I was nervous before, I was even more nervous now. Well, you see? I looked down at the table, hoping that the wooden surface would help me find some way to form my thoughts. Once I was able to form my thoughts into words, I looked back up at Sam. Why is having a demon marriage so important to you? Dun, dun, dun. Sam stared in shock at me. I knew I had thrown him off, but I needed to say it. I wanted him to explain and for us to discuss it. If it was something Sam wanted, I really wished to help him and possibly achieve it with him. If it was impossible, I still wanted to know and at least try regardless. All for him. Sam sighed and looked down as he crossed his arms. Was it seriously that big of a deal that he felt shame over it?
Who told you about it?
Your blabbermouth brothers. I overheard you and your brothers arguing about it yesterday. I began to worry. Did I make him mad? Would he be furious at me for bringing it up? I watched as he ran both his hands through his hair and let out a sigh.
Well, we're having a human marriage and stuff, and, well, I guess that I...
Uh-huh. Sam bit his lip, shutting his eyes as he collected his thoughts. I waited patiently, wanting to know exactly what he felt. He then looked up at me with a sad, almost broken heartbroken, there we go, look in his eyes.
I guess I just miss being a demon.
But you are a demon, bruh. But Sam, you are a demon.
That's not what I meant. I mean, yeah, I'm a demon, but am I really at this point? I work for a human police force.
That was your choice.
I live in the human world. I barely ever use my power, so it's like I'm not even a demon anymore.
Okay, so last time I dealt with a demon that didn't want to be a demon. This time I'm doing with a demon that wants to be a demon who's already a demon but doesn't feel like he's a demon because he's in the human world. Okay. Yep, don't worry. I can deal with this emotional roller coaster. It's alright. Thank you guys. Thanks. Sam looked down at his lap and closed his eyes, slumping his shoulders in almost pathetic guilt.
So I wanted to eventually ask you when the time was right to marry you Demon style.
Demon style.
Basically, I bind my soul to yours, and yours to mine. That way, I'll always know when you're okay, and you'd be able to tell if I was too.
But what about pairing the spell? Blech. Surely you have to arrange it somehow with spell components and whatever else. I can only imagine what soul binding requires.
That, I hadn't gotten around to yet. I didn't want to do anything until I knew I could do it, but lately, I found out that it's impossible.
I couldn't help but feel my lips droop into a frown. Sam seemed really bummed about not being able to pull off the ritual. It was a big deal, or so Sam emotionally suggested. Sam ruffled his own hair with his fingers and slightly growling under his breath. Despite not looking at me, I could tell that he was angry with the situation.
The one chance I have to feel like how I really am, and I can't even do it.
I'm sorry. I felt terrible for bringing it up. Sam, however, shook his head and looked at me.
Look, don't worry about it and forget you ever heard anything, okay? We'll get married like normal, and we'll spend the rest of our lives together. We don't need a spell for that.
I knew Sam was just trying to avoid talking about it further, so I nodded and agreed. Okay, Sam. Sam nodded before going back to his work, as did I. Pretty. Hey, you, stop drinking water. I'm reading here. We had so much to do in a small amount of time. We worked the entire afternoon, trying to arrange as much as we could before the passing of time hit us like a wave. Dinner was extremely easy, but our focus was solely on the work at hand. The more work we would accomplish, the less stress we would have to worry about later. Looking at Sam, I could tell he was exhausted. He had his head in his hands, trying to stay awake as he read over his notes and paperwork. I'm sure for the 5th or 6th time. I was fairly certain that he was tired of reading. He always worked so hard and never failed to try to make everything we did in the best moments of our lives. He deserved so much, and yet he fell in love with me, a simple human. I had no way to repay him except for loving him back and giving him everything I could. Though there was one thing. My mind traveled to the small bachelorette gift Susan and Naomi had sent me when they first heard the news. It was lingerie to be used during our honeymoon, so it was simply sitting, folded up neatly in a box under the bed. I looked at Sam again. My limbo giving me the idea of possibly surprising him and making his night. Another part of my brain told me not to bother with it. The gift was for the honeymoon, so it should be preserved as much. But it was a gift, and it was given to me, so I could essentially do what I want with it. My libido fought with my logic over the subject as I slightly fawned at the idea of making it out loud, Sam, or saving the rough night for the honeymoon. What was I going to do with it, though? This is a choice. It's sex or not, sex or not. Herp-a-derp-derp, what do we want to do? Do it, girl! The more I looked at Sam, the more my inner desire began to burn and light my core on fire. Maybe it was because of his incubus aura, or maybe it was because I loved him that much. It didn't matter. I had to get in the room first and change before Sam came in. If this was going to work, then it needed to be a surprise. I let out a small yawn, stood up, breaking Sam out of his concentration. Hey, I'm gonna get ready for bed. Mind cleaning everything up for me?
Sure.
Wink. Wink. I knew that his exhaustion would hold him back from using his power for speed boost. So I had a little while to change and surprise him. I smiled and walked over and kissed his cheek before walking out of the dining room. Gonna get it on! As I reached the lobby, I began to hustle up the stairs and into the bedroom. I needed all the time I could get. I quickly stripped down of my clothes and opened the box Susan and Naomi had sent me. Seeing the emerald green and black bra with matching panties, it looked incredibly sexy, and I couldn't wait to see Sam's face when he saw me in it. As I thought of Sam, I couldn't help but feel a shiver run up my spine. His touches and his love were intoxicating. This was the least I could do for him. His scent was intoxicating, and his eyes were endless traps for me to get lost in. His arms were my castle, and his heart was my timekeeper. He alone made my world perfect, and I could no longer imagine my life without him. I heard Sam's heavy, tired steps as they hit the stairs, forcing me to rush while I hid the box, hid my clothes, and grabbed my black robe to cover myself. As he opened the door, I turned to face the window.
Hey, you ready for?
Wow, chicka, wow, wow. Gotta love it. Sam stopped. I was certain that me facing away from him in my black robe surprised him into silence, so I looked over my shoulder at him. This is turning into a bad porn. I needed to seduce him, like he seduced me. Hey! Bam! So I needed to release my inner temptress. I slowly turned around, carefully formulating what I wanted to do for him, and looked deep into his eyes, despite the distance between us. "Sit down, boy!" Memorized, Sam slowly made his way towards the bed, not breaking the gaze between us, and sat down in silence. Was he going to be obedient? This is weird! This is weird! This is so weird! I moved to the fireplace, knowing that it only took a couple of clicks to turn on the music through my TV. As if Lady Luck was on my side, the tune that began to play from a slow, sensual song. Score! Then Justin Bieber comes on right in the middle of it. Oh, gosh! I looked at Sam as I slowly let the robe slide down and off my body, revealing what was underneath it. Sam's eyes instantly dilated at the sight, and his chest heaved in both surprise and desire. I channeled every ounce of sexuality I had in my body as I slid the robe away from me with my foot and ran my hands up my sides. Sam, you've done so much for me.
Yeah?
Yeah. I want to show you how much I care for you and wanted to thank you. Sam stared as I began to sway my hips to the beat of the song, floating through the air. Sam's eyes traveled up and down my body as I ran my hands through my hair before bringing them down my shoulder and over my... Are we gonna give him a lap dance? How was I able to do this with a straight face? Dude, I'd start laughing and be like, I can't do this. I'm sorry, I can't. I would never be able to figure it out, but I went with it, walking to Sam, leaning forward a bit to hover my lips over his. Sam leaned in to kiss me. I pulled back a bit and held a finger over his lips. You can't touch me until I say so. That includes kissing me. You are just a tease at this point. You're a dirty, dirty tease. I'm gonna end it here, guys. Ooh, cliffhangers are fun. You guys love cliffhangers so much. Oh, you just love it. I'll see you guys in the next episode.